Welcome to Brews Business. My name is Jacob Dubois, and today we are chatting with Dan Meattey, one of the owners of Sorel Accessories. Sorel produces high-end fur accessories that are found in Saks, Neiman, and many other major retailers around the world. Dan has been involved in this family business for many years. Dan, welcome to Brews Business.
Thanks for having me there, Jake.
Before we get started with the questions, we always test a brew. And today we have Dan's favorite, Bud Light. So let's give it a sip. I'm sure that the taste hasn't changed, but
it's glorious.
You're up first. What do you think?
It's very refreshing. Nice, crisp, light taste. I mean, I honestly don't think there's anything better than the good old classic Blue Bomber, also known as the Bud Light.
My gosh. I got no comments, but we'll go with that. There we have it from Dan himself. So Dan, let's get into this thing. Give me a little bit more detail about Sorel and what you do over there.
So a little more detail. Well, the biggest thing is we really try to push for bringing good product to the consumers, great customer service, which I think is the biggest thing that you can offer to most people when you're really trying to, throw out really good things and stuff like that. And then just trying to bring newness that some people don't have, whether it's like a different style of stretch, just a different version of something with sizing, things like that. So that's kind of what we're really striving for, at least for the future, besides like pushing things online. I know I'm probably getting a little ahead of myself with things, but so then basically a lot of things I'm focusing on is like everything, like what's going to push us to the next level, what isn't working and what is working. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with what I'm doing here at Sorel.
Got it.
I don't know if that answers your question correctly, but that's what I'm given.
That's great. We'll go with that. So one quick backtrack for anyone that doesn't know Sorel Accessories. I know you touched on it just a bit, but what sort of products are these?
So the products that we we're known for is like we do fur and real fur accessories, mainly women's, but we do men's and children's as well, such as earmuffs, hats, headbands, scarves, neck loops, vests. We do gloves and mittens. We also do slippers, and we're starting to dive into new little things that's been doing really well for us is keychains, also known as trinkets. They've been flying pretty well. It's shocking as it sounds, but people love them.
Nice. So I know you've been there for quite a while, and it is a family business. So, what are some of the roles that you've had over the years, and what have they, dumped you into, if you will? Assuming not every job you really wanted to do. Go ahead.
Well, so I guess just from where I started, like when I first came into Sorel, I mean, I did everything from sweeping, taking out trash, pretty much bottom of the barrel, whatever's stuck on there, that's where I started. And I kind of clawed my way off of that and then started doing more things like cutting materials, to make the product. Never did sewing. That's something I didn't quite master, but cutting, just doing inventory, packing the product to send out to the customers for distribution. Then I started gradually getting into sales and just focusing more on like the bigger parts of business, with financing, balancing things and overseeing people and kind of managing all those things, and kind of here I am.
I love it.
And then, now I'm more focused on e-com too, on top of like sales and that stuff also. So
nice. So you've got a product and you're selling it to, some giant retailers out there. What are some like the important things that go into making a quality product for some of these bigger players?
Going into making the quality products, well, we really look for using the best material that we can find or get supplied. And just making sure everything, like whether it's knitted, it's all just put together correctly the way it should be. And that's kind of the biggest thing. I mean, we know what the quality is supposed to be, whether it's the sizing, perfectly fit, all that. I mean, we originally did manufacture everything in-house, probably 40 years ago. So we come from a background of quality. So we know kind of what it's supposed to be. I mean, I guess that's kind of how I touch on that.
Yeah, I like it. I think if you've been in business, you and the business has been around for so long, it's clear that these companies are coming back for something. And yes, it may be customer service, but you can't really have a well-selling product with only customer service, right? So there's obviously more to the madness over there than just incredible customer service.
Yeah, it's getting your brand out there more and all that stuff, and it's something that we're kind of striving for, pushing that more and more each year.
All right, moving on. What you mentioned that you oversee some people over there, so I imagine this is a good question for you. What tasks are just not for you, and you need to bring somebody else to do them?
Oh man, that's a very good question, because today the day was filled up with fulfilling orders. So I don't mind getting my hands involved with things and going down and packing up, let's just say, an internet order or a retailer's order for distribution. But today, all day, was packing a retailer's order for me, which if I could have, or, if we had somebody else possibly, then I'd be able to spend more time focusing on, getting more business and more with the website, Amazon, Etsy, and all that good stuff. And it's all good, but
got it. So
you can only do so much.
Right. And I see this a lot with owners. You're doing the big things that help the ship move, sales, et cetera, and then finances and HR and all this other stuff. But once in a while, you have to go down and pack the product or produce a product or something like that. So it's always amazing to see, what's in your agenda for someone like you. I have a bit of a bigger question, and I apologize because you probably haven't had too much time to think about this, but I was wondering if you had any insight on, where do you see your industry going in the next 3 years?
That's a good question. I mean, honestly, I've been thinking about it, so it may be a shock to you, but I feel like our industry is going more, obviously, as well as everybody knows, is we're trying to get more direct, more online, and things like that. And I feel like the fashion industry I feel like it's only going to grow, especially with, I know I hate to bring this up, but even with COVID-19, I mean, people still want to feel good about themselves and still dress in fashion, even for a little Zoom meeting that we're doing. Yeah, we could wear our in-home shirts with cutoffs and that stuff, but you still want to look presentable. We don't have to totally look like slobs all the time. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be on a upward climb pretty soon. I mean, it's still steady, but I don't know if that totally answers your question, but
yeah, I think if I may, it boils down to direct to consumer, I think. And
Yeah,
what's fascinating too is we have these, humongous brands out there that are, because of the pandemic, they're kind of accelerating their direct to consumer journey. And it's going to get very interesting, I think, because, some, these very big brands that normally do a similar thing to, to what you guys do over there is sell to the big retailers. They've decided to, fold up their own online store and see if they can get their normal customers online, buying directly from them, which is fascinating.
right. Plus, I mean, the other curveball in it too is, a lot of retailers that we sell to, they're starting to corporate policy get away from real fur and just running fake fur, which there's nothing wrong with that, but that leaves another company where your day-to-day, like Bloomingdale shopper, Macy's shopper, they're like, well, there's no fur available here. Where can we go? I mean, you got the other retailers, but that just brings people to us, I feel, more. And we've seen the growth already just from this short amount of time of companies doing without fur.
Another thing happening specifically in your industry is some brands are moving away from fur and maybe adopting faux fur. So that's a pretty interesting insight. I think it's it might catalyze your direct to consumer. And it sounds like you've already seen a little blip. So that might be helpful in the long run.
Especially doing the best of both worlds. We still have the real, and we still do a large business in fake fur as well. Bud Light is really good.
What are some of your habits that you've developed over the years that you'd recommend to someone just starting out? For example, and if it's easier to think about it, what would you tell yourself a couple years ago of like, hey, you should do this every single day?
Well, I think the biggest habit and suggestion I would tell myself years ago and new up and comers is plan. Come up with a game plan and then just like take it down step by step, or chop this tree, the next tree, but just focus on that one and then complete the next one. And it can be tough, when you get more things piled up on you, organizing, then your brain gets all scattered. You don't know what to do. So I really feel like having a solid game plan is the best thing I feel like anybody could do. Like, I'm very sports oriented. So like game plans, mesh with me well. So it's kind of how I go about things.
Got it. And I think, go ahead.
I like to get in early in the morning and just go over everything with myself, what I need to do, and then what we all need to do. It makes it easier.
Yeah. And I was just talking about this with a friend of mine the other day. And I think some people, they actually, there's some people out there in the world that for some reason oppose setting goals. Maybe because it's you might get, if you don't hit it, you might get, depressed or something about that, or it may, impact your performance if you're just really not hitting these goals. And then also on the other side too is if it's a 5-year goal, is it actually, specific, or is it kind of arbitrary? So, however, I think, without a specific goal, then it's hard to align your day-to-day things and say, you end up doing this task over here as an owner because you have to sweep the floors at the end of the night, kind of, in a way. But if you can see that task and say, hey, this does not align with my goal, then maybe you can find somebody else to do that, or avoid doing it and do, what actually is going to move the needle. So I think that's a great insight. And so many people are just shooting from the hip. And I think that we could, even if you set a goal that is, maybe completely off from what you actually get to in a matter of months or years, the fact that you were chasing that goal is probably going to elevate your game. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think that's a very great point. 100%. I mean, goals are huge. And, coming up with ones that are like attainable, but not too attainable, like kind of find that happy medium so someone's not chasing a, magic dragon or something like that, but something that's in reach but makes somebody really push, like, okay, I really gotta bust my hump here to get this done, or whatever I'm reaching for. But yes, that's a good point you brought up.
You can tell I get kind of jazzed about that stuff. However, moving on, do you have this one's maybe my favorite for tonight, and I'm gonna stick on it until we get something good here. Do you have a favorite failure of yours?
A favorite failure? Like business wise or just like personal wise?
Open to interpretation. And I know you're nearly perfect. However, maybe for the audience, you could come up with one or two.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I mean, we'll do a business one. So I feel like one of my biggest fails is probably not following up as much as I could with certain customers to really like make the sale happen. Like I kind of just like let it float up in the air. I didn't really grab it by the horns. So I feel like that was probably, to me, like one of the biggest fails that I've had business-wise. It was a good opportunity too.
Right.
It's kind of flopped around like a fish.
How quickly did you realize you had failed? Was it a year later or weeks? Did you have somebody to tell you failed pretty quickly, or?
Yeah, so it was pretty quick. Yeah, you failed within weeks.
Fair enough. Well, what's nice about it is you remember it now. So it's clear that it's still around and you're thinking about it. Are there some things that you've changed since then?
Yeah. Really taking following up on a higher priority. That's something that I learned obviously early on quickly through experience, which I feel like that's the best way you gain knowledge is by experience, trial and error, failure, like we're talking about. So then you have it embedded in your head, like, well, I'm probably not going to do that again because this could be the outcome. At least if you gave it your all and like, oh, well, they just didn't want it or it just didn't happen. But at least you tried and you gave it your best.
Yeah, I think for people that are out there doing sales, one of the most important things is to get an answer. If somebody is not responding, you have to do what it takes in order to get them to a point where they feel comfortable to give you an answer. And it's not always easy, and you don't want to bug this person, especially if you are considering, trying to sell them the next season or whatever. So you may have to get a little creative and add some sort of value just so they will respond and maybe thank you for whatever you sent to them. In addition to that, say no to your proposal or whatever.
Right.
And that's definitely one thing that I've found is super important too. So you're not alone on that.
Yeah, sales can be tricky, because like a lot of people as well, you probably think it too. You get random sales calls and you're just like, such freaking scam artists. But like, That's why biggest thing with me is I have to be as honest as possible, whether it's good or bad, like in the sales process. Like if something happened, like with a product or something I just did personally, like in the like work paperwork or something like that, like owning up to it and just, mainly being just as honest as possible with customers and even people in general. I think it goes a long way because then, your customers build trust in who they're working with, which I feel is very important.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a big one, in business and personal is saying what's tough. It's not always easy to say the truth. And in business, you may lose a sale in the short term, and in life, you may lose a friend or something in the short term, or make them upset or something. But it always pays off in the long run, because now that person understands you as, Dan, the honest, truthful guy, or Dan, the honest, truthful salesman. So whenever future conversations, happen again, somebody can expect the truth out of you, and they don't have to dance around and try to find the real answer.
Yeah, exactly.
What are some misconceptions about fur products?
Oh, misconceptions. Well, I feel like the biggest misconception is sustainability because, fur products, there is a point in time where the product will naturally disintegrate, it's said and done, but it does last a long time, which is, instead of going out buying a new shirt every day or a new hat every day, like the real fur is going to last a long time, and it's an investment piece, so it's a little more meaningful. I feel like that's a big misconception with real fur opposed to fake fur.
What is one of the best or most worthwhile personal investments you've ever made?
Okay, this is a good one. It may sound a little crazy, but I'm going to say golf clubs. 100% golf clubs.
Tell me why.
That's an investment because, well, just getting new clubs kind of boosted confidence in myself, which made me, love the game more and want to play as much as possible. And now it's like, just seeing how I've gone from like 3 years ago to today in golf, it's like never would have thought, not that I'm like a scratch golf or anything, but I'm getting pretty decent. So it's just a very good personal fulfilling feeling.
Got it. I have some questions, some follow-up questions I heard in there. So when you bought these golf clubs, would you say that they were above your player level? Like,
no,
they weren't.
golf clubs that I bought were more for game proof. Clubs I had previously were like player irons, so they were above me. Right. And I've had one of my buddies told me we're playing in some scramble tournament, and he's like, "Your clubs are too good for you." Like, blades, these are like professional irons. I'm like, oh, because I thought player irons, if you wanted to get, better, you want to use player irons. Total opposite. So I decided to go with game improvement irons, not too like juiced up, but kind of like halfway in between. And it's made a difference. Just kind of with everything.
How do you find time to relax after a long day of work?
Well, judging off one of the other questions you asked, you could probably guess, but it's hitting the golf course up. It's very relaxing. Especially where I play, it's a very scenic course, which is the Shattuck Golf Club. It did a lot of remodeling over there, so definitely got to check it out.
Nice. I will.
I can play around with you too.
I'll come in and we'll see how it goes. Would you say that that when you're out playing golf, are you thinking about business things, or are you totally, disconnected and thinking about other stuff?
I like when I go out mainly by myself playing, I'm definitely thinking more, well, probably 60-40. 60 golf, 40% probably business. Just because it is kind of always in the back of the brain. But like when I'm playing with other people or it's like league play, I try to totally block it out. But there is still probably like league play and tournaments. There's probably still like 10 to 15% business thoughts, just because things pop up, emails, texts, whatever it is. So it is always there, but I can block most of it out.
What are some things that you're working on? Be they habits or goals, or what's going on in your world that you're trying to make happen in the next year or so?
For the business?
Could be personal or business.
Well, personal, I mean, I guess more like health, wellness, getting better at golf. Those are some of my personal goals. And then business-wise, like growing the business to the highest potential it can. And I want us all to drive this e-com, our direct website, Amazon, Etsy. I mean, that's like a big, big personal goal business-wise that I would love to do. And start get a little more boosted.
When you're feeling unfocused, what's typically the remedy?
Wow. I mean, I guess you just kind of got to snap out of it, but I feel like other people, because like if you're just sitting there by yourself, it's very easy at times to like stare at your screen and just be like, for minutes. They're like, oh, what was I supposed to be doing? But then like sometimes a certain person will walk by or like someone will ask a question and then it's like, boom, all right, it's game time. Like time to snap out of it.
I feel like I'm a similar way, and if I get on my own too much, I may get a little distracted, but the moment I have like a new email or somebody else, calling me or whatever, you kind of get back into the whole shindig and realize, okay, I have a lot to do. I shouldn't be just, snoozing or whatever. All right. This is your chance to let the audience know where they can visit you or Sorel or whatever, wherever you want people's attention to go. This is your opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah. So, well, first and foremost, we have a nice website, www.shopsorel.com, and Sorel spelled Surell. I mean, you can visit us on Amazon, Etsy, and then if you would like to come and see us, we're located in Troy, 198 North Main Street, Troy, New Hampshire, and we're right on Route 12. Got a little outlet store, got some wholesale pricing, some good deals. You see me, you get a real smoking deal. I like to help out the people that come to us. It means a lot, so I like to really make it more meaningful for that in-person experience. But we got a lot of good things.
Well, there you have it, folks. Dan at Sorel Accessories, willing to hook you up with some fur products. If you're down in Troy, New Hampshire, or if you want to just go to shopsorel.com. Dan, thanks for coming. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jake.